welcome back to the channel. I was hoping from the last episode when we had the issue with the gearbox that this episode put everything back together, start it up, and I was hoping to ride out the garage. Well, it sprung up another, seemed to be solve one problem and another problem comes directly straight after. So yes, got the clutch cable sorted. I had good feeling in the clutch. Tried it in gear, moved it forward, it seemed to work alright. So I put everything back together, went to kick it over, and nothing. In fact, the kickstart I could actually use with my hand just to... So I pulled the plug out and kicked it over again, and the pistons weren't going up and down. So then it's like, right, okay, I'll take the kickstart side off, have a look, see if I've missed something, see if I put something back in wrong. Nothing. Put it all back together again, kicked it over again, exactly the same thing. So at the moment I've got parts and tools and bits and pieces all over the place. Both sides came back out again. It seems to have been the problem with the clutch. It seems to have been a problem with the clutch. It seems to have locked itself. If it was either too tight or too loose, it would lock. So to get the setting absolutely right, it's been a painstaking, long process of just continually adjust, check, adjust, check. Like I say, this has been a fantastic build, but boy, it just keeps throwing up little bits every now and again. But it's all part of building a classic bike, learning as I go. I wouldn't change anything I've done. It's just, I've so enjoyed doing this. It's been frustrating at times, especially when you do something and then something else doesn't work because of what you've done, or there was a problem with it in the first place. So obviously the clutch wasn't quite set quite right. So let me show you around. Do excuse the mess, I say, because there's bits all over the floor. But anybody who's familiar with Triumphs, nothing is really easy to get to. I'll show you in a second with the primary side. To get to the primary side on this 65 TR6 trophy, you've got to take the footrest bracket off. You've got to take the exhaust off just to get to that cover, because one of the screws is literally in line with the exhaust. But let me show you around. I'm in the process now where I think it's just about right. Lots of checking, adjusting, checking, adjusting. So I'll show you around. So we've got bits up on the bench, all the tools I've been using. Obviously the plug came out because as I was kicking over I was checking. So you've got the footrest bracket and the bolts, nuts, some of the nuts from the other side. So that side is now all back together again. This side, again, everything is all over the floor. All the screws are laid out in the pattern that they came off from the casing. So obviously, like I say, to get that cover off that sits on here, obviously the exhaust has got to come off. This footrest hanger's got to come off, and you need to undo the rear brake, which then locks the brake. But obviously to test it, I need to put the rear brake back in, put the footrest hanger on. So I've actually got a free spinning rear wheel, but it has been just continually checking, adjusting, and making sure that as you can see now, that is now moving in freely, in and out freely. I've also tested with the kickstart and it's now turning, and you've got compression back, which is great. Obviously the other test is to make sure that this pressure plate is actually true. So again, that's a case of using the kickstart, kicking it over, and as that spins you can see if it moves in and out. Well, it's moving in and out, but whether it's actually rocking from side to side, so whether you get a high spot and note where the low spots are, and then it's just adjusting as you go. So as it spins, that is completely even all the way around on all 3 points. So that has taken quite a lot of time. And again, it is putting it into gear, moving the rear wheel round, moving in the clutch, making sure everything works properly. So I think we're just about there. But that has taken some time. It's just little bits, process by process, and working it out. So apologies that the videos have been rather slack lately. But trying to work this out so I can actually understand it. I mean, again, the two big helps have obviously been, well, the Haynes manual does cover a fair amount, but the workshop manual really explains it well. I say everything's in sections. So that's the section I've been going through. I've actually got 2 folders that actually came with the bike, but been a great help. Actually, probably better than the Haynes. So I'm actually now in the process of starting to put things back together. I've got the clutch to a position where I'm happy with it. It works pretty good. It's adjusted just about right. Obviously the big test is going to be obviously when it starts. But as I say, as it is at the moment, it seems to be okay. It seems to have a good pressure on it. I've put it, as I said, I've put it into gear. Obviously then the rear wheel is locked, put the clutch in, and I can move the rear wheel round. So it is just the fine adjustments of it. Maybe a little bit more on the cable, but for the actual clutch itself. But as I say, it has taken a long time just sitting here trying to work it out of what the problem is, why either it starts and I had no gearbox and not really much clutch, or I've got clutch and I've got gearbox and it won't start. So it has been a big thought process, and as I say, plenty of reading, plenty of research. So I'm going to start putting this back together. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next episode we will go for a start, unless anything else jumps up and smacks me one. I say, it's always nice if something just goes, it flows through and goes through, and this build has gone fairly faultless. It's now kicking up a few final tuning bits and pieces, but like I said, this is all about learning. It's all about having a go, trying it and working it out. Talking to people, don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, I've asked plenty of questions. As long as you follow the procedures of the answer you get, then it should be fine. So like I say, I'm going to crack on, get all this back together, and hopefully I can bring you back and we can go for a start. As always, I appreciate all your support, all the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, non-subscribers that watch my channel. Big thank you. Patrons, Facebook subscribers, Twitter followers. It means so much. There's such a big following and I really appreciate it. Like I say, I'm hoping to get back into getting more videos out. It's just been a very slow time at the moment. There are links to other videos at the end of the video, and as always, join me again in the next episode. Cheers. Bye.